So what are we doing in 2025? Well, I am officially registered for all 5 of the races I'm planning to do this coming year as of yesterday. And then I had a little weekly check-in with my coach. We kind of talked about goals for all of these races. And ultimately, I have one big goal, and that is to run the UTMB in 2025. I do have another race I'll put in for the lottery, but the chances of running it are a lot less. And running the UTMB, it requires a lot more of steps to get into it. So that first step is to run a UTMB qualifying race. And that race for me is going to be the Gorge 100K in April. So I'm about 14, maybe 13 weeks out from that race. And that's gonna that's my qualifying race. And that 100K will qualify me for the 100 mile or the 100K. I'm putting in for the 100 mile. Once I have that one will also give me 3 running stones. So running stones is how many times your name goes into the lottery. So the more running stones you have, the more times your name will enter into the lottery. So the goal really for this year is to just run races that's going to get my name into the lottery more times. That means that I'm not going to run a lot of extra races, which can be difficult because you'll see like, oh, that looks like a fun race, or that would be a really cool place to go, but if it doesn't have running stones, I'm not going to be registering for it. And there's a couple of reasons. One, every race is expensive, especially when you get to the ultra marathon distance. And so extra costs spent on races that are not going to support my overall goal is the first thing. And then secondly, I want to keep my body as healthy as I can so that I can do all of the 5 races that I am registered for. So throwing in extra races is not going to help support that goal either. So what are we registered for this year? First race of the season will be March 8th, and it's one that's really just for fun. All of these are just for fun, I should add, but because I'm not going to be going really for any major PRs, the goal is to finish the race, get the running stones, recover, and move to the next race. But the first one especially, it's not going to be as challenging for me. It has the least amount of vertical feet of a race I have done in the last 2 years, and that is the Antelope Canyon 50K. And Sam and I are both going to run that race together as part of a training camp, which is just a big weekend of training. And the day 1 we'll do the 50K, and day 2 we're going to go to Zion National Park and do some running there. Then we're going to recover. Really, there's not a lot of recovery post-race for that one, especially because it's a training camp. And I'm going to be taking a week off of really formal training to go on a family vacation in March. After our trip, we will be coming home and I will be just getting ready, probably tapering for the Gorge 100K. So the 50K, I forgot to mention, will give me 2 stones. The 100K will give me 3. And then we'll have some downtime through the summer, which won't really be downtime as much of just focused training, working on bringing my running volume up. And in the middle of all of that, I do have another 50K, the Alpine Solstice 55K. This one we probably won't even make a training camp. We'll just do it as one of my long runs. That one will be in June, and it will also give me 2 running stones. At this point, my running volume is going to be increasing fairly significantly. Anne told me yesterday she wants to push me between 12 and 14 hours of running per week, which is going to be a 4 to 5 hour increase from what I did last week. So by August and October, I have 200-mile races that I'm registered for. There's a potential that the August one I could downgrade to the 50-mile, just depending on how I'm feeling. The October 100-miler I was originally going to do as 100K. Probably wouldn't have registered for the Oregon Cascades 100 miler had I really known that I wanted to do the Kodiak 100 miler, which is also a UTMB qualifying race. So my 200 milers, end of August, and then the beginning of October. And you know, that first one will probably be ran a little bit more as, which I know it sounds insane, kind of as a practice 100, just meaning that I'm not going to be running it at my best, fastest pace. It's a really good opportunity to practice my aid station turnover and just have my system in place. It has about 10,000 feet of climbing and 11,000 feet of downhill rounding there. Most of the climbing is at the beginning because the majority of the downhill is towards the end. But the Kodiak 100 miler in October is at a higher altitude, so the race stays around 6,000 to 7,000 feet the whole time, and then it has 13,000 feet of, a little over that, of gain. So that first 100 miler really is a little bit easier than the second one, but both of them are 100-mile races, and absolutely anything can go wrong at that distance. So the good news is that I have 2 opportunities. So if something were to go wrong, injury, or you know, in my training, during training, something happens, I do have another one to fall back on if I am not able to do both of them. But the Kodiak Ultras does give me double the running stones, which is kind of a cool addition. So if I'm able to do all 5 of those races, finish them, and collect running stones, I would have 17 by the end of the year. And there's also an opportunity at the Kodiak where if you are a top in your age group or a top 10 male or female, you get an automatic entry into UTMB. So it's going to be a much more competitive course, much more competitive runners will be there. But this is tiny. But that would be another way to get into UTMB for next year. So those are my goals for this coming year. The best part, of course, is all the training leading up to that. That's the part I enjoy the most. So yeah, just looking forward to it. And the biggest thing is to just stay healthy so I can be there for all of those races.